Ready to roll?
You're ready.
Well, the meeting has been called to order at 5:32 p.m. Debbie, if you could do roll call, please.
Chair Emma Wood,
Present.
Kristen Beard,
Present.
Nicholas Palmer,
Present.
Cody Phelps,
Present.
and Inglewood School Liaison Dwayne Tucker.
Present.
And excused, we have Vice Chair Jenna Biondolillo and Kat Hammer and City Council Liaison Tina Prang. And unexcused at this point, we have Rhonda Wilcox. Staff, we have Director Christina Underhill, Deputy Director of Parks and Recreation Brad Anderson, and Parks and Open Space Manager Adrian Torres. Thank you.
Okay, we can move to the approval of the minutes. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes of February 13th as written? Okay, if there are no changes, is there a motion to accept the minutes as written?
Yes, I don't know what to say. Motion.
Yes. Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed say nay. Minutes are approved. We do have public comment tonight in the form of a written comment. I can read that aloud. Okay, perfect.
And
Hi,
Rhonda
Rhonda.
Wilcox just arrived.
I
right
apologize.
before.
All good.
Public transportation.
All good. We do have a piece of written public comment tonight. So I'll just go ahead and read it out loud, if that's all right. It's from a fellow named Miles. He says, I'm writing to say, I hope all goes well with the board. Just a heads up, if you guys end up building that Flow Rider surf simulator at the Inglewood Rec Center, you will bring in a good amount of people and business. I'm aware you guys are trying to attract a younger crowd, but there are so many riders within the flow boarding community here in Colorado, including me. From kids all the way up to seniors and all the ages in between. We only have Water World to go to at the moment, which is amazing, by the way, but it's only open in summer. You guys would be the first to have an indoor year-round wave. You would bring in people from across the state and more than just your intended audience. My point is that it's a great addition to your parks and rec, and I hope that it's still in the plan to include that in the bond upgrades. Also, if it is still planned, do you have a timeline on the upgrades specifically? That would be nice to hear. No worries if you do not know the timeline yet, though. Whether or not it is or isn't in the bond, I wish you all the best of luck and success this year and on the rest of your future bond upgrades and all your other efforts across your parks and rec district and the city of Inglewood as well. Anyways, I've talked enough. Now, hope the Parks and Rec meeting goes well. Wishing you all the best. Thank you, Miles, for submitting that. A bit of context is that the City Council did choose to not include the wave surf simulator in the final plans. Can you give some more context to where this idea came from and why it's no longer included?
With the idea where the wave rider came from?
Yes.
The flow rider did?
Or the intention behind it.
Yeah, the intention behind it is we're always looking for programming for the teams, and that's probably the hardest age group to program for. And surf simulators have been around for a number of years, and I know that there's no surf simulator in Colorado. It says Water World does have one. They do have one, but they only allow boogie boarding on it. So this would actually have been a stand-up surfing one. So we looked at it a few years ago when we were looking to expand Pirates Cove. And then when we came back and we started developing stuff for the bond, I said, wow, we could actually use that and put it at the rec center and use it year round instead of just during the summer months. So that's where the idea came from with that one. And then council, the bond, as you remember, was set to be $50 million, what we requested at first. And then what happened, city council looked at everything and they whittled down some of the projects to get the funding down a little bit more, to make it a little bit more palatable to the citizens, so it'd be more appealing for them to vote for it. So unfortunately, the surf simulator was taken out of that one, but we're still doing a lot of other projects, not only at the rec center, but also at Pirates Cove and then also throughout the parks. So, but we did lose 2 parks from the Bond. We did South is what we lost, and then there was also an attraction at Pirates Cove that was removed. It was a mat racer that we spec there, so that's kind of what happened there.
And I'll add too, if you've been down to River Run Park over by Broken T Golf Course, especially in the spring and summertime, it's packed. People are down there surfing the river, floating the river, and from a safety standpoint too, we looked at adding a flow rider in so you could learn how to do all that before you actually got out onto a river. So we're a little bummed that did get removed, but there's time in front of us. We might have a chance to do something like that in our future.
Are we allowed to?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there an opportunity for a grant for something like that? How we got the grant for, because I think what I remember from city council meetings was them kind of saying, we don't know if the teens would really be into this. And they really focused on the teen aspect of it, whereas this sounds like there's a whole community that maybe we don't really know about. So while it would be really cool for the teens, there's this whole other community of people. Maybe it could be cool if the bond doesn't cover it, that we just find another way to make it happen.
Yeah, that'll be an opportunity in our future. And, with council, we have elections coming up this November, even possible changes in council, and we may see some opportunities. So
Okay, cool.
It'll be exciting.
Oh, sorry, and if I can note, Deputy City Manager Todd has joined the meeting too.
Okay, great. I was going to ask, did anyone write him back, or is anybody going to?
Hi, everyone. Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to join for a little while just to say hi and join the discussion, but.
Hi, Tim. Elizabeth, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna ask if somebody had written back, but I think we did.
Yeah, sorry. When you were introducing him, I thought you said he wrote him back.
Oh,
Yeah, so I would like to know that too. Is somebody going to reply to Miles, or how does that?
Yeah, I'm happy to reply back to
Okay.
him and let him know that this was shared and the comments that were made, and that, unfortunately, we're not getting a surf simulator. However, we do have opportunities at River Run. I'm sure he uses that too, but that could be an opportunity in our future. We'll keep his information if we need letters of support for.
Yeah, I think that would be great. Oh, I was like, when I read it, I'm like, I would have loved if you came to a city council meeting.
Seems
Come to
really
city council,
supportive.
Miles. Yeah.
Seems really supportive either way.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, any other public comment?
No.
No, okay. Well, we can move on to new business, which includes the review of the 2026-2030 capital improvement project.
And we do need approval tonight from all of you. After Brad goes through it, you can ask questions about anything he goes over, and then you'll need to vote to either approve or not, so. Okay.
So part of the whole budget process, the first big piece that we start with is looking at all the capital projects. Each one of the departments puts this out. We put together a capital project fund for the next 5 years. So this is starting 2026 and it goes through 2030. What we do then is you guys, as the Parks and Rec Commission, have to approve it, like Christina said, in order for it to move forward. This is due to finance tomorrow, at the end of the day tomorrow. So we wanted to put this in front of you and also let you kind of know what the different funds are and kind of what's happening in each one of them. The other thing is, so you kind of understand it. So this first one that we have up there is Conservation Trust Fund. Conservation Trust Fund, or we'll term it also CTF, you'll hear us talk about that a lot, CTF funds. Those are the lottery dollars. So when you go play the lottery and everything, those funds go back to parks and recreation districts. So in our CTF funds, it's heavily laden with a lot of recreation projects. Do have a line item in there for parks, and that's simply because Parks has also got an open space fund that we'll talk about next. So each one of these, even though we've put out about the same amount for each year, that's approximately how much money do we get from the from the Colorado Lottery to support the Parks and Recreation. So this year 2025 was right about $592,000 is what was brought in. Now that can change. It depends upon how often you guys play the lottery. So we encourage you to play the lottery. That helps your Parks and Recreation department. And also understand that the money can roll up. So a prime example of that is the Malley fitness equipment and the recreation fitness equipment. This past year, we just purchased a lot of brand new cardio equipment for the recreation center. This year, we have money that's rolling over also, and we're gonna do a weight room refurbish at the Malley Center. So it's kind of nice that money does roll up with that one. This is not part of the general fund. This is strictly for for the Parks and Recreation departments. The thing also about that too is there's a lot of restrictions to what we can and what we can't do with that one. So I won't bore you with all of those details. It's about a 5-page document and stuff, but we make sure we adhere to all the state lottery guidance that we do with that one. So that's the CTF fund. Any questions on CTF?
Yes. Is it the Colorado lottery tickets purchased in Englewood?
No,
Or is it
throughout the
just
whole state of
split
Colorado.
into different cities?
Yeah,
and
so what they
given?
do is anybody that plays a lottery in the state of Colorado, a portion of that money is divided upon all the different Parks and Recreation districts. There's also special districts that are eligible for that as well. So, and how much you get is dependent upon how many people are in that area. So in Englewood, we have approximately 37,000 citizens, so it's divided upon that. So South Suburban is a special district. They're eligible for CTF funds as well. They get a little bit more because their area is so much more vast than what the city of Englewood is.
Okay.
Good question.
From this boring restriction document, is there anything that sticks out that we should be aware of as far as restrictions that might impact us in the future?
Not really. There's a lot of, it can purchase for some things. I'm trying to think, uniforms for staff, it doesn't cover that.
Okay.
It will cover, you can take a portion of it and put it towards staffing as long as it's maintenance staff. The kind of same thing, we'll talk about that when we get to the open space fund too, but there's just, I'm trying to think of something else that comes to the top of my head that's restricted, but there's just a few things, there's things that are restricted, some things that aren't.
Does it fluctuate pretty significantly year over year, or is it something that we can rely on to be X-ish amount of dollars?
Yeah, 2024, the amount was about $490,000. So we got a little bit more for 2025, but then we've also been told that fewer people are actually playing the lottery. So the fewer people that play, then those funds are going to start coming down. But
It's not like it's going to be $100,000 one year and then 500 the next.
no, it's been pretty steady.
Okay.
We did an average, and I think the average came up to just over, close to $500,000.
Somewhere around where we're, yeah, makes sense.
And historically, we don't spend that all.
Sure.
typically.
No.
Yeah, so it'll roll.
Cool, thank you.
Okay, the next fund is the Open Space Fund. Open Space Fund comes from a 0.5 cent taxation in Arapahoe County. They decided to do that one, and that money is earmarked to come back to parks. So not recreation, but it will come up to parks. So this is a list of the different items that are in there for the Open Space Fund. The one thing that has helped us out a lot with this one, when you look at that line item, that's the task is 009 Parks Maintenance Employees. We're able to take 2 full-time employees and use that money. We can take 20% of those funds and put it towards staffing. So that helps us a lot, and that frees up a lot of the stuff that we have in the general fund to do a lot of things with the parks. The other thing that's awesome about the Open Space Fund is now that the bond has passed, this freed up a whole bunch of money for us to go out and upgrade the parks that weren't part of the bond project. Base Logan, which we were talking about earlier and stuff, that basically was funded from the Open Space Funds. But look how long it took us to do that one.
Right.
At least with the bond, it's not gonna take us that long to get a lot of those parks upgraded and stuff, but this will free up stuff. We're actually looking at Centennial Park right now with the story walk and stuff that's gonna come out of the Open Space Fund. Adrian's working right now on the grant proposal for that one for 26. So, but other than that, if we didn't have the open space funds and if we didn't have the whole bond project, then it would have taken us a long time to do a lot of larger projects in the open space fund in the parks.
And we'll add to that the concrete trail replacement, we are utilizing some of that funding to fix up the Southwest Greenbelt Trail that's starting now. And that was kind of a critical trail we needed to replace because it was asphalt and it wasn't doing well. So that is actually getting replaced. It was removed from the bonds, but we're still able to do it. So it's kind of nice. We have more money to work with in improvement side.
So when you say, we were able to do this because of the open space fund, is it a combination of that and a grant?
Typically,
Like,
sometimes,
yes.
yeah.
Like, so for Bates Logan, it was a combination of,
Yeah, so what happens, Adrian will apply for the grant, and then we have to have matching funds. Which
oh, okay,
take matching funds, if you see
Got
the
it.
second from the bottom, grant matching fund, we're taking that money and we're matching the money, so
Got it.
it's not hitting us from the general fund.
got it, okay. Thank you for
Same type of
explaining
thing that we have with CTF, and I forgot where I was gonna go with that one, but the same thing with CTF with the open space fund, those monies roll over. So none of this money goes back into the general fund, so we'll have money, and if there's a large project and stuff, we will sit there and build upon that and then have a bigger expenditure in 2 or 3 years later on.
Cool.
So that's what's nice about it. Then the next fund that we have is Public Improvement Fund. This is part of the city's capital funds that we have. The one line item that Parks and Rec has in this one is Parks and Rec parking lot maintenance funds, because a lot of times what happens is the parking lots get in disarray. They get potholes and everything else in the lovely Colorado winter freeze thaw cycles and stuff. So this money is put into those funds so we can keep the parking lots at both at the Recreation Center, at Malley Center, and throughout the park and Pirates Cove to keep those updated and keep them in good working condition. And the next one is the capital fund, or the golf course fund that we have. So the golf course fund, as you all know, is an enterprise fund. This doesn't hit any of the general fund at all. What has to happen is the golf has to have the money in their account in order to have the capital. So they take their budget and then they pull out, they identify all these different areas to where they will put into their capital fund. And then they'll go out and spend. We approved last year the golf carts. You can see golf carts for 26, 27, and 28. There's $44,000 that's in there to pay for those golf carts that when they exchanged all those, when they came into play, purchased new ones. But then in 29 and 30, there's $0 there because they will be paid off by them. So that's kind of how that fund, once again, everything can roll up from those funds as well.
Do we have city golf courses in Inglewood?
Yes, we have the one Broken Tee
Broken Tee.
golf course.
It's actually in Sheridan, but Inglewood owns it.
Okay, got it.
Across from Target, Costco. That
Oh,
golf
yeah,
course
yeah,
is-
yeah. I literally was thinking about that today. I saw some people golfing and I was like, I wonder
Yeah,
what course
that's
that is. Okay.
And then the last one that we have up there is the capital projects that we have in there. Art in public places is one. It's a 1% that goes back from the general fund. It comes into this fund for a capital one. And that's just to have art around the city of Inglewood, that we monitor that one. Emerald ash borer mitigation. I'm sure you've all heard about the emerald ash borer that's out there and stuff. So what this does is we have money put aside to where citizens like yourself, if you have ash trees and you have the borer, you can apply for a grant to help remediate those. That's what's nice about that one. So that's what these funds is. Library's got a furniture fund that we have in there too, so we're able to pull from those funds. And that's all the projects, the capital improvement projects. Any other questions for any of them? And we just need your
A motion, okay.
Yes.
All right, any seconds for questions?
Great job, very streamlined.
Yeah, I can tell that you guys are being really intentional about how you're spending money and where, while it's generally smoothing the peanut butter across all the years, like you can tell some years are high and low
Mhm.
in some areas on purpose. Don't need to get into the details there, but it's very intentional and thoughtful. Good job.
Thanks.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the capital projects budget for 2026 to 2030?
I motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor of approving this, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. All right, motion approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. All right, moving on to the summer hiring update.
I lost my,
Who wants to go?
I'll start, then Adrian can jump in
Your
too,
vocal
since-
cords are already warm.
Yeah, I'm warmed up. I'm ready to go with all this stuff. So summer hiring summer's right around the corner. The weather we've had this week kind of gets us ready for it. So the biggest amount of employees that we hire are seasonal employees, and that's during the summertime. So we start that whole process of hiring in February. So actually last month is when staff started putting together their requisition forms to put the postings out in the paper, Indeed, and everything else. And then they go to job fairs, everything else to recruit different staff. Pirates Cove alone has a total of 200 seasonal staff that they hire every single year. So that's our largest seasonal employer that we have in our department. So they're all working on that right now. Right now, applications aren't coming in too fast, but we kind of know that. We hire a lot of high school students. And since high school is still in, they aren't thinking about summer yet. And then all of a sudden, when April hits next month, we'll get more applications coming in. And then May, there's a frenzy of them to get in because mom's saying, get out and get a job. Usually what happens with everything. So everything's looking good. All the staff they're ready for summer. They're ready to start getting everybody staffed up. So that's kind of where we're at with that. And I don't have any real good hard numbers because they're just starting to roll in now.
Yeah, lots of opportunities, like Brad was saying. We pretty much offer everything. We have a golf course, we have parks, we have a farm, we have a train, we have swimming pools, we have we have lifeguarding, we have everything, something for everybody. So, people are interested or have young children or nieces or nephews or anybody else is interested, go on the website. And I think the majority of them are open right now.
Yeah, all the Parks and Rec jobs are listed on the city website.
Do we partner at all with local high schools, job fairs, letting them know? Yeah.
We do. In fact, there's Inglewood High School, there's a job fair coming up. I believe it's next month. They just went to a job fair at Metro at Auraria, but got kicked out of it because there was a cross thing with that one. Actually, next Tuesday, there's a job fair that's going to be held at the Malley Center. So recreation staff will be attending that one, also the park staff. And usually what happens with some of the job fairs is one of the groups is unable to go. We team up with the other parks and recreation staff and make sure that we're representing the whole department to get the word out.
I have multiple questions about all of this. The first one is Pirates Cove. Last year, you guys did a really incredible training on inclusivity. And I want to know if that's something that you guys would continue to do every year.
Yes, we will.
Love that.
That is part of that. That's why we need to get more in tune with that one and make sure that that's an important piece.
Awesome. On that same theme, I have a couple of questions about summer camps. So who creates the programming for our summer camps?
We have a recreation supervisor that works with teachers that are part of the summer camp program, as well as other staff that have been with the camp program for a bit, to create those curriculums.
Okay. So something that I'm running into personally, and I know other families in the special needs community is after the age of 5, really kids are aged out of any programs that are licensed to support them with diapering or things that maybe they continue to struggle with. And what I'm learning is it's really underserved. And there's not really anyone that's willing to do that unless you go all the way to like Adams Camp, an hour and a half away. And so I wanted to know if that's something that we could maybe look at doing, is an option for all needs, where we could have people that could support different needs, not necessarily every single program, but maybe a specific program for that. I think would be really cool. The city as a whole does such a good idea, or has such good ideas and commitments when it comes to inclusivity, like we're seeing at Bates Logan Park and everything. I think it would be a really great opportunity for the Parks and Rec department to continue to stretch that muscle and show up for our community, especially having brewability here and stuff. I just think it's something really, one of my favorite things about the city. And I would be happy to partner with that rec supervisor or anything to come up with ideas if that would be an opportunity.
That would be great. Yeah, we'll reach out.
Great, and Nick will help too.
Awesome.
I have a second.
Perfect.
Cool.
Okay, let's move on to the Malley closure.
So I'm going to keep talking? Is that what you're saying? You haven't heard enough of me yet?
You're all over this agenda.
So last week or 2 weeks ago, Malley closes every single year for a week, and they do that one to refurbish everything, to clean up, deep clean and everything, to redo the floors for the gymnasium, also the ballroom and everything. So this year, probably the major thing that we did was there was still a partition up on the front counter because of COVID that was placed up there to keep staff safe and also keep the guests safe too. We tore that down and we redid the front countertop and everything, so it looks much better. The problem we had with that was staff was having a hard time listening to hearing the guests through the glass, even though there was a portal and speakers and stuff, and then vice versa as well. So that came down. It got a refresh. A lot of all the rooms were painted with everything. The offices got an accent wall, so all the staff down there are very happy with that one. So everything got scrubbed, got cleaned up and everything. So it's something that needs, you don't think that it's that dirty of a place, but then after years worth of dirt and grime of people coming in, it does get its wear and tear. So we always need that time to come in and do a refresh. The end of August is when we do the one for the recreation center. So we'll talk about that one. We have some big projects coming up at the recreation center closure too. So Malley turned out really good and everybody's happy, and just I have to applaud our facilities crew for helping get that done. And then Trey, who's one of the project managers, he did a good job of getting everything staged, getting things set up and get the contractors in there. Then staff at Malley did a great job too. And then the Parks Department, those guys came in and helped get things set up, get things taken down, put back up and everything too. So it really is a team effort to do everything. So IT had a big part in it too, as far as they took all the computers off of the front counter and had to replace those too. So it was a good team effort and it looks great. Stop by there sometime. Even if you're not 55, you can go in and say I'm part of the Parks and Rec Commission.
Who has been to Malley?
I've gone in to go to the bathroom.
I go there a couple times a week.
Got my COVID shot there
You had a COVID
years
shot
ago,
there?
yeah.
Nice.
Did you like the glass being down?
I haven't been there yet.
Oh, okay.
I go every Wednesday definitely, and then other times when I can. So I wasn't there yet this Wednesday for my class, but so I haven't seen it yet.
Okay,
but I'm
that's your
excited
homework,
to.
and next month you have to report back.
I will.
Okay,
I will.
perfect. Thanks, Rhonda.
I will. Scope it all out.
Okay. We can move on to the Parks and Rec bond update.
Give you a brief that.
Thank you.
So just a very simple update. We are going to be selling the bonds in April. And so the funding should be available end of April, early May. On the back end, Brad's been working with our finance team to get all of these projects into our system so they have specific dollar amounts attached to them. We can track every single park we renovate as well as facility. We're in the process of going through applications currently for the project manager. That position closes on Friday, tomorrow. And we have our very first oversight committee meeting at the end of this month on the 27th to kick it off. And so that'll be both Jenna, who's on this commission, as well as internal staff from finance to just about every department's involved with multiple staff. Everyone wants to be a part of it, which is super exciting, but it's ultimately overseeing all the projects, make sure we're not missing something. The big thing on communication with our residents is we'll have at least 2 meetings, public meetings to give input. I think almost every project, if not all, is on Englewood Engage now with surveys already up to get feedback for what people want to see with the parks that are listed. As a reminder, Cushing Park, Emerson Park, and Rotolo are already in design. We've already had all the meetings for those. We will post the updated drawings once they're done on Englewood Engage, as well as construction timelines. We are reviewing the bids for construction for Cushing Park. And so Cushing Park will be our first park that will go under construction and be done probably by this fall, is the hope. We do have to keep in mind timelines. When we did Bates Logan, there's a long delay on getting like certain equipment like playgrounds. And so our hope is always to be 6 months construction with a simple park like Cushing, where all we're doing is a dog park and more or less playgrounds, but we may be waiting a while for some equipment. So we want to get these designs going as soon as possible. As soon as the bond sale happens, we're pulling the trigger on contracts for the designers to kick it all off, and we'll hit the ground running. So each one of these meetings will provide an update. Jenna will help us. Cody actually is part of the review team for the rec center and Pirates Cove design. So, you know, as these go on, we want you all involved. We hope you can come to the public meetings. We'll make sure you're very aware of when those are happening. You can share with your neighbors and other individuals in Inglewood before the bonds. So I think that's it for now.
The Recreation Center review, we're interviewing the 2 top candidates. That's coming, I believe it's the 24th on that one. The RFPs were due back today for Pirates Cove. There was a total of 10 that were submitted. So we'll start narrowing that down. So Cody will get you that information for the Pirates Cove stuff by tomorrow, because you'll see that stuff come through. Awesome. But I appreciate that being on those evaluation committee.
It's exciting. There's a lot of interest. A lot of people calling and asking
Yes.
questions, wanting to know when bids are coming out, what can we expect? So we're really anticipating getting decent prices for these projects just because of the competition, which helps us out. I don't know on the tariff side of things how that's going to play out. A lot of what we get here in the States comes from elsewhere outside of the country. So we're watching that. We really had our fingers crossed that maybe pricing would be better. It may be. We'll see as prices come in. So yeah, we did also got the finance team. The S&P rating came in. It was a AA+, which is good. And so that means our interest rates will be a little lower than what we've been advertising at like the 6%. So that will all come to fruition here in April. Awesome. Yeah.
What's the contingency plan if you mentioned tariffs or some other economic factor would cause your materials to go up? I mean, you have a defined amount of time to get this work done. Would you go back then, would council have to approve sort of a rescoping of the bond projects?
That's something we'll have to definitely think about. We haven't gone down that.
Let's hope it
road
doesn't
yet.
come to that, but I'm just.
Yeah. That'll be something we'll have a discussion on if we have to do that. I hope not, though.
Yeah.
We really want to, our goal is 2028 to be done with most of these and just kind of buttoning up the last pieces, because we have 3 years to spend 85% of the 41.5 million. We're also investing these funds. We'll be earning interest as well, which should help. If we invested all 41.5 right off the bat, which we're not doing because we are spending money already, we will be. Ultimately, I think the interest we earn on that was like 1.7. So there's a lot of factors that go into that, but that's extra funding we could have to utilize for, you know, cost overages. Or we also have a lot of alternative pieces of these parks, like Cushing Park. We'd love to do a pathway around the park. And so we might be able to add some things into the renovations if we have additional funding left over. But time will tell, and we won't really know until we're in the thick of it, how it's playing out.
And I guess the alternative to additions would be subtractions from maybe what we have planned?
Potentially, yeah. You know, there might be something where, you know, we don't put in the massive playground, it shrinks to a smaller one. But I think there's ways we can work with these design teams to recalibrate the projects to still get an awesome park done. And provide what we said we were going to provide, but it might not be at the grandiose level that we were hoping to do that out. And we've had to do that already at Emerson Park to stay within the $600,000, which includes the design fees and all the amenities coming in and improvements. We've had to make a few tweaks in that. It still looks really awesome, and we hope nobody notices. We might have had to cut back just a little bit to keep it within that 600 versus 700,000. So. That's the goal, is to kind of manipulate what we're doing in each of the parks and facilities to still get the product we promised.
So for next month's meeting, we can expect that likely it'll have been sold and funds are imminent.
It'll be closer to the end of the month, so it'll be after the next meeting. So
Okay.
we may not have any great updates other than the oversight committee discussion, and that's about it, so.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Adrian, your turn.
All right, I learned tonight if I sit here long enough that they'll give my whole update. And I can just hang out. But I brought pictures, so.
You want Centennial
Sure.
or Big Slogan?
Let's talk about Centennial. So I talked to you about Centennial last month, about the grant and the story walk and the things we wanted to do there. Well, I have some pictures this time. So this is kind of the 30,000 feet view of what we're going to do at Centennial. So at Centennial, we want to do both fishing docks. One fishing dock has got removed probably 5 years ago. It was damaged beyond repair. And the other one is getting close to being in that condition as well. So as we're going for this grant, we've written in it to replace both of the fishing docks. They'll both be ADA accessible. You can't really see it, but between the playground at the top left and the ball field parking lot, that's where our story time walk is going to be. So when we get to the next couple pages, you'll see a little better. There'll be little pedestals that kids can read the book as they go down that section. Go ahead and keep going, Deb. I'll explain some of the stuff as we go. There should be
Next one.
4 pages. Oh, we went too far. So this is where the lighting will be. So we came up with 10 solar lights that'll go around the path at Centennial. You can kind of see the blue dots on there. You can't see them real well, but that's where solar lighting is targeted for at Centennial. Go ahead and go to the next one, Deb. So these are the fun pictures. The floating docks, if you've been out to Centennial, they'll look, quite a bit like they are now, just new. The upright junipers, if you've been on the north side of the lake there's the old camp RV storage place. So we want to kind of do some kind of barrier there. There's razor wire and a nasty looking fence. So something to kind of buffer that area. We also want to do a bird blind. Jenna brought this to our attention at the last Parks and Rec Commission meeting. So this would be kind of by the Oxbow area. Something made out of steel that looked kind of like a bird blind where people could hang out and watch birds. Another thing that we're excited about is the viewing scopes. So I think there's 3 of these scheduled to go at Centennial, where that you can look for birds or look over the lake for different things. Go ahead. Here we go. Here's the cool stuff. So on the left is going to be this story walk signage. So each of these will have 4 pages. So there'll be 2 in English and 2 in Spanish of the same book. The idea behind the little logs is that little kids can stand on those to read the book. So there'll be 20 of those between the playground and that parking lot. We're partnering with the library, and they will change the books out throughout the year. So, every so often we'll get a new book on there, and then the kids can go and read a new book. So super exciting, cool idea that the library came up with and has wanted to do for a long time. So we're excited at the opportunity. The other one, the wildlife informational signage, there's going to be 5 of those, and they'll be different. Some will have, they have the examples there. Birds, fish, plants, different things that you may find at Centennial Park. Another thing that we want to do is that loop is almost a mile. We're at like a 0.9 a mile, and everybody likes to use that for training or walking and know how far they go. So we're going to paint or sandblast the concrete walk with markers so that you could know, where to start and stop, how many miles you've gone, and so forth on that. So that's kind of high level overview of the grant for Centennial. The budget right now is almost $700,000. We're going to go for a $500,000 Arapahoe County grant. We use the matching funds like Brad was talking about earlier out of the open space fund to match the grant for Centennial Park. It's due April 20th. Oh, I'm sorry. April 11th it's due. April 7th, I'll go to council. Council has to approve us submitting for the grant. So April 7th, we'll go to council. April 11th, we'll submit the grant. It's usually end of July, beginning of August, somewhere in there that we find out if we've been awarded the grant or not. So that's kind of what we're working on at Centennial. Any questions on that?
Yeah, you said you're gonna go for a $500,000 grant and the budget is $700,000 and we have to match. So then would there be an extra 300,000 that we matched that's not budgeted for?
So our matching portion will be like will be 200,000.
Oh, so you don't have to match the whole grant?
You have to match 25.
I'm just asking so I can understand the process, not to like question
No,
your.
Nope.
Yeah, okay.
You know, Bates Logan, the max you can ask for is 600,000. You have to match with 25%.
Okay,
So since this project isn't as expensive as
Understood.
Bates Logan, then we're only gonna request 500,000.
got it.
Match it with our 200 to complete this project.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you for explaining that.
You betcha. Any other questions on Centennial?
Looks awesome. I'm
Yes,
so
excited. I will get an email out. I talked a little bit last time about support letters, so I'll get an email out to you guys requesting support letters to go with the grant when I submit it.
Real quick, you said the trail around is like 9/10 of a mile.
Yeah, it's like 0.9, yeah.
Is there any plan to figure out a way to extend another 100-ish meters? Or maybe like go around the bird
That's a
blind or
lot,
something?
yeah.
Because there's gonna be something, if people are running, there's something about hitting that mile, and if they pass it's 9/10. Once people start having to do math on their
Yeah,
runs.
well,
they're
we'll have like a start and a finish,
There you go.
is what the idea is.
But then if they're running like multiple miles.
That's on them. No.
All right.
Just one at a time.
Them's going over there to run.
All right.
So this is Bates Logan. So Bates Logan basketball court got poured today. So finally, weather was right and then got the pump trucks out there. And so Bates Logan is moving along. We're still on schedule. American Ram Company should be out the end of April. They'll do the bicycle portion of this project. And they should be done hopefully end of May. So we're still on schedule for end of May, beginning of June, early summer grand opening for the entire park at Bates Logan. So, any questions on Bates Logan?
We will have hopefully a very large, well-attended ribbon cutting party out there to celebrate the new park.
I have a question that I'm not sure this is the right audience to answer, but you know how you can rent pavilions and stuff like that? Are you able to rent the pavilion, pre-rent the pavilion here, even though it's like not?
It's still shut down right now.
When, do you guys know when that the rental will open for? Is it like once the park opens, you relaunch it, or?
Yeah, right now we have it listed just as first come, first served when construction allows. But right now it is just shut down.
Okay, so you just
last
can't do
year
it. Even if you did it
we
for
did.
June or something, you just can't do it yet?
We can't guarantee it. It's too hard.
Okay.
We've been there and done that. Someone wants.
Yeah,
to
some
work
of
it already,
the neighborhood has asked, so I
Yeah,
thought maybe
sure.
I'll ask.
And then we've had to move people around and stuff.
Would
so-
that be something that you guys would maybe update the commission on when it's gonna be up and running, so we could tell the neighborhood, or?
think we
I can
put
just
it in-
ask, I'll just ask again when it gets closer, if that's easier.
Yeah, and.
Yeah, remind us.
Okay, okay.
And we will, we can also start, providing updates as we get closer
Okay.
to on the website,
Okay, cool.
on the pavilion reservation page of Bates Logan.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Anything else on Bates Logan? That's the last of my cool pictures, but some other updates, Christina talked about a little bit. Southwest Greenbelt, we're redoing the trail. So the first section got poured today as well. So we're moving the asphalt and turning it into concrete. So section 1 was done today, then they'll move next week to section 2, ripping out the asphalt, and then to section 3. So that's something that we've had requested and wanted to do a long time, is redo that path over there. So once Rotola's done and once all that's done, it'll be a nice path all the way through that area. Christina talked about a little bit too, the Cushing RFP. We got 7 bids back. Jenna is part of that review committee for the bids on Cushing. Those are due back tomorrow. So after procurement gets everybody's reviews back, we'll meet as a group and we'll select a contractor for Cushing Park. So Cushing, we're close. Once we get the funding, that'll be our first project that you'll actually see movement on is at Cushing. And that's what I got.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Okay, we can move on to staff's choice. Is anything else you guys would like to share? If you'd like to say anything from a school point of view?
Sure. So last month, I told you that there was going to be a vote on the long-term future of the 2 middle schools in the district. Well, the vote happened last week to combine the 2 middle schools into a single middle school. So there's obviously all the transition committees getting put together, and it'll include parents and students and staff and all that stuff to talk about what that looks like. The new version of the school will open this fall in August. It will all be rebranded and all the other things that need to happen. And then, of course, just keeping an eye on the budget conversations and other things in the state legislature right now. There's several that could impact education, not just in funding, but in other things. And then continuing to watch what's going on at the federal level as well. Trying to, those things pop up and then, courts, whatever. It was still just trying to figure out where all the dust is going to settle there and what the impact is. So lots of things to keep track of in that space. So what were you saying?
Oh, I just said fun stuff.
Oh, okay.
Good luck.
Yeah, well, that's good. Yeah.
I'll just put on everyone's radar, April 12th, we have our Hop-In Shop at Bellevue Park. The time is from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The train will be up and running for that event. We are splitting up the egg hunts. 1 and 2 year olds will go at 11, 3 and 4 at 11:30, and then 5 to 7 at noon. We've noticed that maybe one parent shows up with 2 kids, and that's a challenge because they're different ages, and so we split those up. There's going to be market vendors there, face painting, a bunny hopping around, a large bunny, can't miss it. Anyway, so that's happening again on Saturday, April 12th at Bellevue Park.
Are we gonna, again, continue to have the egg hunt for like
Century
lower
egg hunt?
century?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
wonderful.
That'll be on the tennis courts.
Yep, great. And is that timing, do we know what time that one's gonna open? Or is that just sort of ongoing?
That's a good question. We'll find out later.
Okay, yeah. It might be on the flyer or whatever when it comes out.
Anything else from staff? We can move on to commissioner's choice.
I love this conference room, but can we go to like Malley or
Yeah.
someplace soon?
That'll be the goal. We'll be jumping around to parks when the weather's good. Of course, March is beautiful right now. I thought this was our snowiest month, but typically, yeah, we'll jump around to different parks and facilities so you all get to see them and experience that, so, yes.
So it looks like we don't have a location for April yet, right?
Correct.
When does that get decided?
In the next agenda, that'll be sent out. So typically we hop around in different pavilions in different parks, so they'll decide where to go when the agenda gets sent out, what week before
Okay.
next month's meeting.
I'll check or see like if Mally's available next month.
We'll look at the weather too.
We usually go outdoors in the summer too and get in the actual parks.
I just wasn't sure like if we schedule it all ahead of time or if it goes it sounds like it goes month by month.
Yeah, and then of course, if it's like bad weather, we'll come here.
Yeah, we want you to get out of here and get outside. We
Yes.
like being outside too, so it's fun to have the meetings elsewhere. Then you can see the parks in action. We were at Jason
Yeah.
Park last year. It was packed. It was kind of fun to be out there and everything going on. So yeah, we'll get you guys out of the building for sure.
We do have some feedback from a neighbor on Cushing Park, and I'm wondering if that's helpful to provide this month or next month's meeting, depending on where you're at in the process.
Provide it.
Sounds like very close, okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna go with my phone so I don't
Yeah.
forget anything. But this was about the dog park specifically. Apparently there was a happy hour crew that was chatting about the designs. So the opinion is, the dog owners that frequent Cushing Park are afraid to do 2 parks. It will end up being 2 tiny parks is the assumption. It won't be very fun or safe. So that's number 1. Instead, they would propose using the field for the dog area or doing both. So having like 2 spaces. And then the people were saying that they love the park so much, they would love to give back. They would love to buy a pass, to have a passcode on the fence that you swipe in and out. which would both control access, because you have to register your dog, but then also it would give some money back to the parks.
That is an interesting thought. One thing with our parks, we always want to think of equity and individuals that may not, if the pass has a charge on it, will they be able to afford it, those sort of things. But that's an interesting idea. We'll definitely look into it. We've been trying to find ways of how to manage dogs in our parks in a different way. Our code enforcement manager did a presentation about a year and a half ago to our city council about licensing dogs in our city and some other opportunities we may have for our off-leash dogs. And so, yeah, what was the size of the dog park?
I don't remember, but it's substantial.
Like 20,000
Yeah,
square feet?
It's a good size.
It's pretty large. We're trying to use as much of that area that's unusable for anything much else. And so the reason we do not want to put the dog park on the field is because we have limited fields in our city and we do rent that area out. We know it's heavily used for volleyball and other things. So yeah, we did look at that, but being that we have limited green space for other activities, and this was a space that we couldn't use for other activities other than maybe off-leash dogs. So yeah, well, I mean, it's a fence. If we're able to expand it down the road, we find it's heavily used. We'll look at maybe expanding it if we can, but your feedback. Yeah.
Anything else? Okay, well, we can adjourn the meeting at 6:24 p.m.
Excellent. Thank you all.
Cool,
Thanks,
thanks.
everyone.